it is, sister, is that she's worried over her little girl.
She's in nursery school, I was told.
Yes, but only till lunchtime. Mr. Green's a long-distance lorry driver. He took her there on his way to work. The thing is, she doesn't know if he's made any provision for Andy. That's the little girl, Andrea.
He doesn't know she's in hospital then?
It seems not, sister. He just telephoned asking the doctor to call. Thought she had a tummy upset. A neighbour brought her in.
I see. Are they on the telephone?
No, sister.
All right, nurse, leave it with me.
She's worried sick. That's what's making her worse.
I know. I think I'll contact the social worker right away. Oh, Nurse Marhan, thank you. You're a good girl to find that out.
I didn't know it was my business, sister, but she's that distressed.
You did the right thing. Don't worry.
Sister?
Yes, what is it?
I was wondering, sister, Mrs. Green, there's any news like?
As it happens, I've had a phone call. You can tell her the little girl's fine. The granny's picked her up from the playgroup and taken her back to the house.
Oh, how was she contacted? She's not on the telephone. She lives miles away. That's what Mrs. Green was fretting over.
The social workers contacted the police. They went round. It's not the first time this sort of thing's happened, you know.
I never realised they could do that.
There's a whole network of ancillary services linking to us in here. Patients don't only exist within the four walls of a hospital, you know, nurse. You want to find out a bit more about community work if you're that interested. Now then, off you go and give Mrs. Green the good news.
Thank you, sister.
Oh, nurse. I want you to keep a special watch on Debbie Logan for me. She doesn't realise it, but she's a very sick girl.
Yes, sister.
There's some leaflets in Mr. Farrow's office. I'll give you a few. You can study them over the holidays.
Thank you, Miss Windrop.
I don't want to damp your enthusiasm, but you're jumping the gun a bit, aren't you? You're almost another 3 years yet before you need make any decision about the future.
I know. Apart from a registration, what exactly would I need to do health visiting?
Well, you're midwifery, part 1 anyway, and you need some experience before you could start training. You'd have to have held a position of some responsibility for a year or so at least.
Staff nurse?
Or even sister. Thing is, you're looking after the health and welfare of families in the community. It's not a job for newly qualified 21-year-olds. Why are you so interested?
Well, when me dad died, Mammy was left all on her own with us kids. She was quite ill then. She had nobody to help, like when I first came over here.
Yes, I remember.
She was completely lost. She had neighbours and that, but no,
No informed advice.
A girl I met who was a health visitor said the best part of the job was watching healthy children grow.
Well, quite. Great part of it is health education. Chasing up immunization and things like that. It's not like hospital life, you know. When you're in here in uniform, you give people advice and they take it. What's the joke?
Nothing. I was thinking of our Mrs. Ennis.
Oh, the dragon of women's medical. Yes, I've heard about her. But a health visitor, from the time she starts, has to remember that she is a visitor in someone else's home.
Oh, is Mr. Farrow in?
Well, I haven't seen him.
I ordered poinsettias for the platform for tomorrow night, and they just sent dreary rubber plants.
Of course, it'll involve going to university.
Really?
The RCN used to do it, but still, in the next 3 years, you'll have plenty of opportunity of speaking to health visitors and people doing community work, so you'll be able to form a better opinion, won't you?
I suppose so.
All right. Now, isn't it time you got back on the ward?
Oh, yes, Miss Windrop. You've been very kind, very helpful.
That's all right. Oh, and nurse, you've really stacks of time, you know, to think about it. If I were you, I'd set my sights on that SRN badge. That's quite enough to be going on with.
Yes, Miss Windrop. Good morning, Mrs. Ennis. Time to rub your elbows.
What have you done with my sponge bag? It wasn't there this morning.
Was it not? Must be still in the bathroom. Been any better?
Not a damn fool question.
Sorry.
Well, how can I feel any better? None of this rubbish they keep pumping into me is doing me any good.
Oh, there now, I'm sure it does.
Are you trying to tell me how I should feel? You stupid girl.
Well, I certainly didn't take it, if that's what you're insinuating.
That will do, nurse.
Well, that's what she's more or less suggesting.
No, I don't think you did take it. I'm sure you're not short of a couple of pounds to buy yourself at least the sponge bag with.
There now, Mrs. Ennis, there's no cause to fret. You probably got put in someone else's locker by mistake.
I'll get one of my nurses to have another look round.
When?
As soon as someone's got a moment. We do have a great deal to do on the ward this morning.
Right, I'll bitch that one. Proper troublemaker.
Oh, doesn't matter.
You don't have to take no notice of her, Dax.
I don't. Here we are now. Look what I found. Got put in poor Mr. Sherman's empty locker.
Huh, a likely story.
Beg your pardon. What's the problem?
No problem. I've got my sponge bag back. The girls obviously felt differently about it.
Are you saying Nurse Morahan took it?
But of course she took it. When I made a fuss, she got scared and pretended to find it. Empty locker indeed.
It's all right, Pat. Forget it, please.
I won't bloody well forget it.
Don't mind, really.
Oh, you might not, but I do.
What's it got to do with you anyway? I was talking to her.
Mrs. Ennis, you really are the most ungrateful, diabolical old bitch it has ever been my misfortune to meet.
Oh, nurse! Not old!
Sister said it was all right for us to sneak in at the back when they finished the speeches.
If you like.
Of course. Don't you want to see them?
Not particularly.
Oh, I suppose so. Just think, all the family there are watching you. What's wrong, Pat?
Nothing.
Are you still upset about that Mrs. Ennis business?
Good Lord, no. I'm packing it in.
Packing it in?
That's right.
What's your training?
Nursing the whole thing.
Pat, you can't.
I can, you know. All I've got to do is sign a letter of resignation. They don't actually clap you in irons and hang, draw and quarter you for it. Oh, Maureen, don't look at me like that.
Go and see the physiotherapist then.
What for?
You just told me Mr. Farris suggested you found out more about it.
I doubt it.
I think it's a first-class idea. If you really do mean to give up nursing, I'm sure you'd like it fine.
Maureen, honestly, I'd have to go right back to square one. It's a 3-year training course.
So is this and you're prepared to do it?
I can't go in for all that long-term planning.
So how many times do you give up and run?
Because I chuck teaching.
You must want to get somewhere, Pat.
What you're really saying is I've got no stability. A reed that blows in the wind.
I'm not. I think you've got plenty of stability. You just got to dig a bit to find it. If you keep giving up every time you begin to doubt yourself, where is it going to end?
You know, you sound just like my father.
You're not the only one who's been making decisions.
You'd really stay on another 4 or 5 years?
Just to be nearer 6. 3 years to get me SRN. That's if I pass first time. Then my midwifery. Then a couple of years as staff nurse before I can do my health visitors training. And that's another year.
Ye gods. You're not serious.
Why shouldn't I be?
Well, in the first place, you only got the idea yesterday.
I think it's what's right for me. Of course, I'll have to talk it over with Mammy in the holidays. It's only fair to prepare her. She'll understand.
And that's the second reason. You were going potty when you first came here at the thought of leaving your family for only 3 years. Couldn't you do the course at home?
There's only one college in Belfast. I'd have to be very lucky to get a place. Most Irish girls wanting to do health visiting come over here.
But love, I mean, how can you?
How can I what?
Commit to yourself.
Isn't that what life's all about? One way or another.
But Maureen, you're only 18. How can you possibly know what you want to do in another 3 years' time? How can you be so certain?
Sure, and they asked me the very same thing when I was 7 years old. When I told them I was going to be a nurse. It's grand, isn't it?